exploring the intriguing topics of life from sports, food, and yes, politics, broadcasting from a semi-undisclosed location. Welcome to TobiasLand USA. Hello, my people, and welcome to TobiasLand USA, where any and every topic on this, the third rock from the sun, can be discussed. I am the mayor, county mayor, governor, president, prime minister, founding father, and or king of TobiasLand USA, Tobias Dubose, or just the host for short. Welcome to everybody. This is actually a very cool one I'm doing. This is actually the first episode of the TobiasLand USA podcast. This is episode 1, and I'm just going to basically talk a little bit about myself, get to know me, just know who I am and why I'm doing this and what to expect going forward as I do these broadcasts. So, a little bit about me. My name is Tobias Dubose. As of the date of me recording this, which is July 21st of 2026, I am 26 years old. I am from a nice little town called Knoxville, Tennessee, here in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. So, a little bit about me, how I got to this point. So, I graduated from high school in 2018, and I ultimately graduated from a community college in this area called Pellissippi State Community College in the fall of 2019, which was interestingly enough because it was December 13th, 2019 to be exact, which was roughly 3 months, or almost 3 months to the day where the world changed. So I was one of the last ones to actually graduate with anything before the world changed due to the pandemic. So I ended up taking a year off to try to get experience based on some personal stuff, and I returned to school in the fall of 2021, where I went to Tennessee Tech University in Cookeville, Tennessee, which is almost midway between Nashville and Knoxville. And I say almost between Nashville and Knoxville. Midway is because if you look at a map, it's closer to Nashville than it is Knoxville, because to get from Cookeville to Nashville, we're looking about an hour 15 to hour 20. But if you go from Cookeville to Knoxville, you're looking at about an hour 45 minutes. So I did graduate in the spring of 2024. I was a wildlife and fishery science major with a concentration in wildlife. Now, had I known there was conservation biology as a I guess what you call a degree of study, if you will, I would have gone that route, because most of the people who I took classes with for my specific field of study for my major were the people who hunted and fished and did those kind of things on a regular basis. It's not that I don't like to fish or hunt. I do enjoy those things, at least fishing. I like to go hunting one day. It's just more or less I don't have anybody to go with, and I don't know who would go with me, so I don't really have much access. I've always been more of a recreational kind, so camping and hiking and things of that sort. So after I had a position at a state park in Tennessee, I moved back home to Knoxville, and ultimately in November of 2024, I started working as an associate in paint at a Home Depot store in my hometown. So I started off as a part-time, but I eventually became full-time beginning in May of 2025. To be more specific, I officially became a full-time associate in paint the day after Memorial Day 2025, although pretty much in the week or two leading up, they pretty much gave me more hours to get me adjusted more. So, and I've been there ever since. I have been there for more than a year and a half now, and assuming I'm still be there by November 7th of 2026, I will be there for 2 full years. So, a little bit more about me, what I'm interested in. So, as I said earlier, I like outdoor recreational activities, mainly hiking and camping. I'd like to go fishing, and I wouldn't mind hunting. It's just that I would like to find somebody to go hunting with me who knows how to hunt and knows good spots and how to help me out, because fishing is one thing, hunting is another. But also, other than that, I enjoy sports, primarily football. although I am trying to get into baseball some, but I'll speak on more of that in a bit. But so for sports, my favorite teams are as follows. So first in for college sports, my favorite team, although I am from Knoxville, Tennessee, my favorite college football team is the Alabama Crimson Tide. Roll, Tide, roll, and shout out to Pastor Claude Ramsey out there if you're listening to this. Roll, Tide, roll. So, but anyways, so that's my favorite team in college football. For the pros in the NFL, my favorite team is the Tennessee Titans. Tighten up, even though we kind of suck right now, thanks to the leadership of some of the people. Hashtag fire Amy Adams drunk. As well as in the NBA, my favorite basketball team is the Golden State Warriors. In Major League Baseball, my favorite team is the Boston Red Sox. And in the National Hockey League, NHL, my favorite team is the Nashville Predators. So those are my favorite teams, so I like to root for. So if you just again, if you ever see me, don't be afraid to shout Roll Tide, Tighten Up, or Go Preds, or Go Red Sox, or Go Golden State. You know, don't be afraid to do that, because those are my favorite teams. But anyways, long story short, I do like watching sports, and I try to get into baseball. So I mainly got into baseball because of a minor league baseball team known as the Knoxville Smokies. They were the Tennessee Smokies, but then they moved back to Knoxville. That's a subject for another day, but to make a long story short, prior to 2000, there was a minor league baseball team in Knoxville called the Knoxville Smokies. They moved to a suburb of Knoxville called the Kodak, but instead of being called Kodak or even staying in Knoxville, they became the Tennessee Smokies for 25 years. They moved back to Knoxville in a new awesome stadium named Covenant Health Park near Old City in Knoxville. If you live in the Knoxville area and have been to a game, you need to go. It's a really, really fun experience. So, for culture, when I talk culture, I like to talk about pretty much that. So, I love food, pretty much just about any and every food, whether it be seafood, barbecue, Asian, Italian, any food you can think. Food, I love food. I especially love breakfast food, any kind of food that you can think of. I probably do enjoy. In culture, I like music and dancing, so my favorite genre of music, if there's one genre of music that I listen to more than anything else, it's country music, and I listen to pretty much any and all kinds of country music, from the old days when it was Hank Williams Sr. and Patsy Cline to some of the more newer artists you hear on country radio today, you know, like a Morgan Wallen or a Jelly Roll or Luke Combs or things like that. I also like listening to country music that doesn't get much airplay on country radio, but there's still some great artists, and that might be a video for another day as far as why country music is kind of in an odd place going forward. But to make a long story short, I love country music. I listen to other stuff. Most other music like rock. So like the only genre of music that I would listen to that spans decades, not just a specific era, is going to be rock music. So I love rock music. So whether it be like the big hair of the 70s and the 80s, like AC/DC and Bon Jovi and Aerosmith, to what you hear throughout the decades. So, but again, like I said, that's the only other genre that I would actually listen to throughout the decade, because just about any other genre, so hip hop and R&B, pop music, I mainly stay in the 2000s. I mainly stay in the 2000s. I will dabble into the 90s plenty of times, and occasionally the 2010s, but only if it's like the early 2000s. But so that's just how I see it. So other things I like to do. So every now and then, I try to do it once a month, but every now and then you might see me at a local honky tonk doing some two-stepping. So it's really fun. It's really great, and it seems hard at first, but once you get down how to do it, you'll know more. But so that's just a little bit about me. Now, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about why I decided to start this podcast. Why am I doing a podcast called TobiasLand USA? And that's because when I do this podcast, I don't do this for fame. I don't do this for glory. I don't do it for money or to be popular or to be liked or to impress the ladies or anything of that sort. I do this just to give my thoughts on what's happening, what's going on. Again, I don't do this for any kind of reason. I mean, if I get famous, I get money off of this. That's awesome. If not, it is what it is. I'm okay with where I'm at right now. I don't do this to make you feel anything like I don't do this to make you feel, to make you feel like I'm better than you, because I don't believe in that. I just believe in what I believe in. So I don't do this to be popular. I just like to give you all insight of what's going on in the mind and in the life of a 26-year-old young single black male from Knoxville, Tennessee, who works at a who works in paint in Home Depot. So that's part of the reason why I do this. So as I do these, again, so this is as you can tell, this is the first episode. So there are some kinks I still need to work out, but just bear with me. Things will be better as we progress along. So as I said, we'll talk about sports, we'll talk about culture, and before I get asked this question, will I talk about politics? Yes, I will. I will talk about politics because right now we live in a time where, on one hand, you want to avoid it because it divides everyone. At the same time, we have to have those hard, difficult conversations to move forward and to become better stewards and people and citizens of not just this country, but also of this world. So, a disclaimer before I say anything else, because I probably will talk about politics some point down the line, and given the fact that this is an election year with midterms coming up, I likely will do a prediction of what I think will happen in the midterms. So I'm just going to disclose and disclaim right now that I do consider myself a Republican. My politics usually lean to the right. I'm a big believer in capitalism. I believe that as long as you are a business owner, you have the right to do whatever you need and have to do to make sure your business is successful. Now, if you're a large financial company like, say, Koch Industries or Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan Chase or one of those big, large financial corporations, I think you need some limitations and regulations. But for businesses like mom and pop shops to restaurants to grocery stores, I'm all for doing what you need to do to make sure your business is successful. Although I also believe that as a consumer, you have the right to understand and know how these businesses will affect prices for you. Additionally, I am pro Second Amendment. I've always been a believer that while I don't think you should have certain guns, like say an AR-15 or AK-47, I also believe that that you should not have that taken away if you did nothing wrong. If you've done nothing wrong, you're a law-abiding citizen, and you're using it not only if you have to use it in a last-ditch effort. I don't see what the issue is. So again, I believe in capitalism. I believe in capitalism. I also believe in being pro-Second Amendment, but that doesn't mean I'm completely towards the Republican Party or the GOP or to the right, because I am critical of some Republicans. Listen, I am critical of Donald Trump. I never voted for him. I voted for Joe Biden in 2020 and also voted for Kamala Harris in 2024 because I believe that character should matter, and someone who has a character like Donald Trump should not be in office. And again, that's my opinion. Even if I disagree with your opinion, I still believe that your opinion. So I don't believe that someone's right, someone's wrong. I'm just telling you how I believe and see things. Because again, while yes, I consider myself Republican, and I have voted, and my politics lean to the right, and I have voted for Republicans, I've also voted for Democrats, as I've mentioned, on all levels, local, state, and federal elections. I'm also for other stuff, for more progressive policies. For example, I am a strong and supportive advocate for the LGBTQ plus community. I do believe that love is love, and everybody deserves to be treated with respect and kindness, and that some of these issues are less about those people and more about the people who complain about them. So, and at a time where the LGBTQ plus community feels like they're being underrepresented or even attacked, especially the trans community, I always have been, and I always will be a staunch supporter and advocate for the LGBTQ plus community. So, and that's just a little bit about me as far as my politics go. So again, I will say, as another disclaimer, just because I say these things doesn't mean that everyone says these things, especially as people of color, because as black people, just because we believe in certain X, Y, and Z doesn't mean we all think the same. We don't all think the same. There is a difference between how we think, especially among the different generations of black people. So again, just because I'm a black person who is saying these things does not give you permission to use me as an example. I'm just saying this as me, Tobias Dubose, the host of this podcast. That's why I say these things. But to piggyback around to what I was saying earlier, we will talk about politics on this show, and again, the main goal of this is just to let you know that, aside from just letting you know what goes on, what I think about and what I believe on a daily basis, I want this to be a reminder that, that unless it's something like offensive or outrageous or crazy, your voice deserves to be heard, and that your beliefs are valid. Because if you are scared or concerned about something, you have that right to feel concerned. It's just a matter of making sure that if you're concerned or have questions, do your research, look it up. Speak to experts who know about this, instead of just hearing what you hear in an echo chamber or on a social media post due to algorithms. So that's pretty much what you can expect. You can expect just my honest take on what's going on, so many topics, and just, again, like I said, just getting to get a mind of a typical 26-year-old single black male from Knoxville, Tennessee, who works in paint at a Home Depot store. So, and if nothing else, above all else, I just hope it gives the experience to, if you get anything out of this podcast or this series that I do, I just hope that it helps understand that, there are people out there who don't do this for fame or for fortune or for money. There are people out there who do this because they want to just let you know what it feels like to be doing what they do, or what they think, and that there are people who are legit real and not what you see on a post on social media or what you see online when you turn to an interview on a cable news network or anything like that, or on a morning show or on a talk show or on a Sunday morning political talk show. Like, these are real people that you get to see in front of you. So, as far as why I do this, so that's pretty much why I do this, but I will make sure that every time I talk about this, I will give you information as well as examples or explanations of why I believe this or I believe that, and that's for any subject, not just politics, but also sports. More on that in a bit. It's culture. So again, this is just not for fame or fortune. It's just to more or less give my spiel. So I don't have much time. I am going to wrap this up shortly, but I just want to end by giving you some notes on what's going to be happening in the upcoming weeks. So I'm in the process. So this is the first episode I will be recording. After this, the next 4 episodes, I should say, episodes 2, 3, 4, and 5 are going to be prediction videos for the 2026 SEC football season. So episode 2 will be the first part, that being the season predictions for Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, and Florida. Episode 2 will be, or I should say part 2, episode 3 is going to be predicting Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, and Mississippi State's final record. Part 3, episode 4, is going to be covering Missouri, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. And then episode 5 of the TobiasLand USA podcast, and the 4th and final part of the SEC season prediction, is going to be focusing on Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt. So the plan is to have those episodes uploaded by no later than the Wednesday before the college football season begins. So that's what I plan to do. That's what I will be recording the day after I record this video. And again, I will be doing other videos. Like, I probably will do an NFL postseason video. I'm not sure how that would work. I'm definitely likely will be doing an election prediction, what I think will happen going forward as far as elections, who wins the majority, who ends up in a minority, which races I think will go which way, things like that. But for now, just be on standby for that in more weeks to come. So, before I wrap this up, I just want to say thank you to everybody who listened to my spiel going on for more than 20 minutes at this point. And I hope if you enjoyed it, let me know what you thought about it. And if you didn't like it, all I can say is shut up. I had too much negativity in my life anyways. So, but no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But for real, I hope you all like this. And again, I don't do this for me. I do this just to let you know that there are people who are real and honest and down to earth. So, again, I thank everybody for listening to this episode 1 of TobiasLand USA. Stay tuned for the SEC football the SEC schedule prediction for all 16 SEC teams. And until next time, take care of yourself and each other, because remember, peace, love, understanding, a stogie, and an ice cold beer is what will save this world. So, this is your host, Tobias Dubose, the owner of TobiasLand USA, signing off. This is a production of Riverside Recordings.